Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only. Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Joan.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to our show. If this is your first time, welcome. Feel free to comment. We love comments. And if you're a repeat visitor, we just want to thank you again for coming to see us. Hello. Hey, Chanel. How are you tonight? Good to see you. Oh, Patricia, glad to see you can make the show. We love Patricia, Chanel, and Barbara. We're glad that you're watching. I just wanted to say before we get into the show to remember that now we're broadcast live on WLFE-DB.com. And we have 3 different programs that you can watch: Variety Unlimited, LGBTQ Friends, and Paranormal View. Chanel has a show on our radio network, and be sure to tune into her. And on with the show.
And it's never easy to say the name of the radio station.
No, it isn't.
Never, even with it written down. It's
right.
Crazy. Can you believe it's April already?
No, I can't.
Tomorrow, April. I'm not fooling.
Chanel just said share out. She did, and that's right. Thank you very much, Chanel. Share, comment, like, follow, do all of those things. Dominic also has a show on our network, Real Talk with Tom, on Monday nights, 10 o'clock. Sorry.
So I just wanted to talk about a little bit about April. April is here, and we've got a nice lineup for April, including a new feature at the end of the month that we're going to be doing. Next week, April 7th, we're going to have 2 multi-genre authors. We've got D.H. Cerminho and David Perlmutter, or D.K. Perlmutter. He's Canadian. And the 14th, we won't have a show. But on the 21st, we're going to have author Cheryl Payton, who's a multi-genre, mostly mystery and thrillers. But she is a multi-genre author also. And Jim Hartzell is also going to be on. He's children's and young adult books. He's got multilingual also. He's got books in Spanish and German. His books have been translated. They're both in a Writers Guild in Tennessee, from the same guild. On the 28th, we're going to have our first ever UK author night. And we've got fantasy author Paul Cood, who's going to be on. Has a lot of followers there, a lot of readers in the UK, and also British crime author Bobby Barker. She's going to be on as well. So a lot to look forward to in April. And without taking any more time away from Cynthia, I wanted to introduce Cynthia Woolf, who's a historical romance author Westerns she writes. Hello, Cynthia.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
We're going to call you Cindy.
I'm doing great.
We're glad you're
Glad to
doing
be
great.
here.
We're glad to have you. Thanks for being on our show. You want to share with our viewers here and also those people that will be listening later on when it's just a podcast.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul. Oh, maybe you know Paul Hollis. He's an author. He was on one of our first shows.
I know that. Hi, Paul. I know the name. I do.
Yeah, we love Paul. He is a great author. I'll tell you that. But maybe you'd like to share with our viewers and our listeners, for those that are just listening, how exactly you got started in writing and what your latest project is.
Well, I've been writing for a very long time. Actually, since I was a kid. I wrote my first romance when I was 10 years old. I wrote about a little boy I had a crush on.
Well, that was a good place to start.
Yeah.
You started in romance at 10.
I did. But I actually started writing my first Western in about 1990. My mother was a librarian, and she used to bring me home books all the time. And I read romance voraciously as a teenager and young adult, and still to this day. But she told me about when she met my dad. And they met in 1942. And my dad was a cowboy, and she was a nursemaid. They call them nannies now. She came up from Texas to Creede, Colorado. It was a working cattle ranch, but it was also a guest ranch at the same time. And she came up with a little boy who had asthma, and she stayed the summer with this child and met my dad, who was a cowboy on the ranch. And they corresponded for a while, and after she went back home, they corresponded, and he finally asked her to marry him, and she said yes, and came up to Creede, and they got married and started living, and they did all kinds of things. My dad was a trapper and the cowboy, and he worked for the county for a while. I mean, he just did all kinds of things. They were airport wardens and deputy sheriffs when they were in Creede. That was during World War II. And just all kinds of things. And she told me about the meeting, and I just fell in love with the story and just sort of made it my own with my first book, Tame a Wild Heart, which I set in Creede, and made the hero a gunfighter, a gunslinger, and bounty hunter, and the heroine was the daughter of the ranch owner. So
actually, you could say that you were a product of Western historical romance.
I am, yes, I definitely am.
And now you write it.
And now I write it. I lost my mother in 2008, but she got to read at least part of the first book I was writing, which was the one about that she inspired me to write. And so I was glad she got to read that. I always wished that she'd been able to read the whole thing, but there were parts of it she would have skipped over anyway. So
Before we get much further, let's tell the listeners and the watchers about our book giveaway tonight, the first book giveaway, because it's pretty special, I think. Here it is, everybody. Book giveaway, the 10th person in the U.S. only, sorry everybody else, to email Cindy at CYNTHIAWOOLF.com will win a signed hardcover set. That's a 3-book set of Marshall's Mail Order Brides. It's 3 books, right, Cindy?
Autographed.
that's right.
Autographed, signed, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I should have gotten the covers and brought them in here, but I forgot.
We've got them.
We got them right
We
there.
have them.
Oh, there you go.
That's why he was quiet for a minute. He was looking for his pictures.
Sorry about that.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Take that down for a second so you can see the covers.
And that's the set that you'll get.
Yes.
And that's hardcover, guys, not paperbacks, hardcover. So
it's the 10th person only. Just one set of books is going, and it's going to go to the 10th person.
all right. So yeah. Hi, Trish. Yeah, it is. Wow. It is quite a giveaway. All right. So don't worry about the picture being up there, Cindy. Just go ahead and why don't you tell us a little bit about the Marshall's mail order brides?
The Marshall's Mail Order Brides was a series that my friend pitched to me, and she said, "You ought to do this. It'd be fun." And I thought, yeah. So they only are related to each other. I mean, they're standalone books, but they are related to each other in that each hero is a U.S. Marshal. And the books take place in Nevada. The first one being Carson City, which is obviously the capital of Nevada right now. Well, it wasn't then, but I think I can't remember now when I set them. I think I set them in 1870s, 1860s maybe. Everything starts to run together, and I don't know, was this book in the 1880s, 1870s, 1860s maybe? I don't know.
We know what you're talking about.
That sounds like the world since COVID, actually.
Yeah. Somebody told me that
we have to go back and see who did what.
Pandemic brain, because we don't have the interaction with people that we normally do. So we're losing bits of our memory and our brain power.
Sounds about right.
Anyhow, those 3 books are set in those cities. They are mail order brides. The most recent one is the Silver City bride, and she actually is a gambler who is on the run from a gang of bad guys. I don't know how to describe them other than that, very vicious gang. That she took offense at what they were discussing at the poker table and what they had done to a poor little prostitute that they had visited the night before. And so she won all of their money and then gave it back to the prostitute who they had stolen it from. So that's how that story gets started. And she answers an ad for a mail order bride to go into hiding from this gang. So
that's the reason why she did it.
Yeah, that's the most recent of those. That's the latest one of those books. The most recent book that I have written is called Troubled Bride, and it's the 5th book in my Matchmaker and Company series. And she has witnessed a murder on her way to the train station, and is running from the killer. In essence, she never wanted to be a mail order bride. She was the office manager, you might say, of the Matchmaker and Company office in New York. And she answered the letters and so forth from the man that she ends up marrying because she needed the money for her mother who was ill. So she needed the money that he would send for her traveling expenses to pay for her mother's care. And sad things happen, and she ends up having to go out and marry this man anyway. So that's sort of how they get started.
Oh, so Trish Pipkin says her screen froze.
Oh dear.
Anybody else having any trouble out there? Well, meanwhile, Cynthia, you want to tell people what your website is?
It is, you can do it at www.cynthiawolf.com. And my name is spelled with 2 O's, no E's.
Good. Good. Yeah, because people that are listening can't see these banners.
Right.
And your Facebook page is www.facebook.com Cynthia Woolf, and it's also the same spelling, 2 W's.
2 O's.
2 O's. 2 O's. Oh my Lord. That's okay. The other night I said our show was on Monday night. It is not. It is on Wednesday night, and it's always been on Wednesday night. And you can tweet to Cynthia at Twitter at Cynthia Woolf. And Cindy, you want to tell us where people can find your books?
They can be found at any major retailer. They're at, of course, Amazon and Barnes & Noble. They are mostly ebooks, although I do put everything out in print. But places like Barnes & Noble will order it for you, but they do not have it on the shelf. So you can get it on Apple, Kobo, Google Play. So it's just about anywhere that you would have your e-reader, you can find it.
Yep, you can get it on Amazon. Go to Amazon, to your page on Amazon, or go to Indie Book Source to our website. You can find Cindy there too.
Yes.
So all different kinds of ways that you can get in touch with Cindy and buy her books.
So how many books do you have?
I have 55 historical Western romances.
55.
55. And I also have written 6 space opera, science fiction, Westerns in space.
Oh, nice.
Gosh, I didn't even know that.
No.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
we didn't talk about that.
That's a well-kept secret.
Yeah, those were my just my fun books. You know, they're just things that I had fun writing. They're short and they're sexy and they're in space, and you know, I call them Westerns in space.
So do you like to read science fiction?
I do.
I do too.
I read sci-fi romance a lot, and I read very, very sexy sci-fi romance. It's just something that I never was.
Trish says like Serenity.
Oh, I love Serenity.
Yeah, I do too.
Firefly, that whole series.
Yep.
There's only 13 episodes, and I was so sad. I mean, I was just so sad. I cried the last episode. I really did. I was so glad they came back with Serenity. That's just such a great movie, in my opinion. I think it is.
Yeah, yeah. We liked Firefly and Serenity too.
Yeah.
Well, I like sci-fi, but I have trouble writing it. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, mine didn't go over well either. So they're just sort of in the background. I sell a book here and there, maybe one a month or something like that. But, you know, got to stretch, got to stretch your wings there.
Yeah, it is a shame that Firefly was canceled.
It really is.
I was sad to see it go.
I wish they'd come back with another one. I mean, come back with the same actors and do the same, pick up where it left off, except you lost some of them you lost Wash in Serenity. I cried when that happened too.
Okay. Also, aren't you going to be doing an Oregon Trail series, Emma Rose?
I do. That was my latest Oregon Trail book. And I named it Emma Rose after my cousin's great-granddaughter. She was just born this year, actually, I guess last year, during the pandemic. And I just thought Emma Rose was such a pretty name that I told my cousin, I said, I'll put her in a book. And then I had a cover that I needed a title for the Oregon Trail series, and Emma Rose was it. That was perfect. And what I'm working on right now is the 9th book in the Oregon Trail series. And it's called Nora, and it'll be coming out in probably, I want to say May or June. It'll depend upon how fast I can write it when I get started. I haven't started it yet, so.
Well, yeah,
that would help.
That would be the factor, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the funniest thing about Nora is I named the title these characters before I ever start writing the books, and I've got the covers for them before I ever start writing the books. And so I named Nora, and I knew that was after my grandmother. But in one of my other books, Rebecca, her twin brother is named Benjamin. And I kept thinking about a book for him, and I couldn't figure it out, and all of a sudden I just came up and I said, okay, Ben's book will be Nora. That'll work. And then it hit me, my uncle's name was Benjamin Franklin Sandel.
Huh.
My grandmother was Nora. And I'm like,
interesting.
Okay.
all in the family.
Yeah. I said, maybe this was meant to be.
So who does your covers? They're really pretty.
They are done by Lori Jackson of Lori Jackson Designs.
She does a really good job.
Yeah, she's incredible. I just adore her. I'm in the process of rebranding all of my covers and having them all done by her. And but yeah, I love the covers that she does for me. They're just spectacular as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they are. They're really pretty. You can tell something about the different people too. So she must listen to you when she decides how she's going to draw them.
She does, and I go through with her and help. I give her pictures of girls that I like.
Yeah.
And I'll give her maybe 8, even 10 different pictures of women that I think might work for this particular character, this particular book cover. And then she goes through and she picks out 3 that she thinks she can work with. And then I pick them from there. I pick the last one. So it's definitely a collaboration.
Do you know what her website is so you can give her a shout out?
It's Lori Jackson Designs. I think that's it. Just Lori Jackson's Designs, LORIJACKSON Designs.com, I believe is her website.
Okay. All right. Well, she does a wonderful job.
She does.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll let her know.
Yes. Yeah. Plus, there's always budding authors out there that are looking for people to do their covers. So
that's right.
It's true.
Yep. You never know. So once again, you want to say aloud for all of those that are listening and can't view what your website is?
My website is, you can get it at http:// or is that backward slash?
Those are forwards.
Forward
Anyway, / CYNTHIAWOOLF.com, or you can do www.CYNTHIAWOOLF.com.
Right. And at Twitter, you can reach her at Cynthia Woolf. And Facebook?
Facebook.com/Cynthia Woolf.
Right. And then
Woolf
Cynthia
is WOOLF.
Yes.
Right.
Not 2 W's, like I said earlier, 2 O's. WOO.
And if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, it is www.subscribepage, that's all one word, subscribepage.com/K1P2M1. And I'd love it if everybody subscribed to my newsletter.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I always do a contest in my newsletters.
Well, that's
they come out at least once a month. My newsletters are not chatty. They are notices of new books, books on sale. Yes, spelled with 2 O's.
that.
But yeah, and they're notices of my friend's book, of my colleagues' books that are on sale or brand new or whatever. And I run contests in them. But I'm not a chatty person. I don't sit down and tell you, what I had for breakfast or, any of that kind of thing.
Well, that's kind of good.
Yeah, that's just not me.
I think some people like that, though. They like to know all the details and learn all the things. And
yeah, and some people do. I mean, I understand that, but I just warn you, mine are not that way.
Right. Yep. We occasionally write a blog, and ours are not very chatty either. And
I used to write a blog every week on my website, and I just got so tired of it. Oh, hi, Betty.
Hi, Betty.
Welcome to the show, Betty. Well, that's good. This is one of your fans.
Yeah, she is a spectacular fan and a great reader.
What is your favorite Mail Order Bride, Betty? It's going to take her a minute to type that out.
Okay.
Once again, you can find Cynthia Woolf books on Amazon. You can also order them, I'm sure, from any major bookstore. You can order them if you want a paperback, but like she said, any place that you can find an ebook, you'll be able to find an ebook.
And Cindy is on indiebooksource.com. Remember that, indiebooksource.com. You'll find her page, and then just go in there, and when you find a book you like, you click on the purchase link, and it'll take you right to Amazon. We're just like the
conduit,
the conduit for people to get to the books specifically.
Well, yeah.
So,
you let them find our books, which is a wonderful service.
Oh, good.
It really is.
well,
Makes it a lot easier than going into Amazon and searching.
Yeah, it is easier
Yeah.
than going into Amazon.
You get a description of the book. You can see the cover. The whole thing.
You can find her page easier.
And her page, she has so many books on there that we're constantly updating. It's updating to do, right? Because you just keep on writing. So we're going to be breaking for our commercial break. We have to take a couple minutes, and when we come back, we'll bring in Linda Watkins, and we'll talk with her.
And Linda is the author of Gothic horror and many other types of books too. She's a multi-genre author.
So we're going to sit back, take a little break, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Paratalk Radio is a member of radio.com. Download the app, search Paratalk Radio. One word. That's it. Pretty easy peasy. Radio.com.
WLFE DB Radio is on Spotify with all its great shows like Across the Pond, Inside the Drag Closet, Step into the Paranormal, Just Cindy, Where's My Sage, Unfiltered Talks with Bryce, Metal Mayhem ROC, Paratalk Radio, Real Talk with Dom, and more. So download the Spotify app today to stay connected to all your WLFE DB Radio shows.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area at 410-400-9641. Or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
You're listening to WLFE DB Radio. Now, back to our program.
Welcome, Linda.
Hi. How are you doing, Linda?
Pardon?
How are you doing?
I am fine. How are you?
We're good.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Linda.
Genevieve Revenant said, I love this. I'm glad you do. And
I
also, Betty Doll said she couldn't think of the name of the latest book, but she loves them all. And then she said, Trouble Bride. And Paul Hollis says, hi, Linda.
Love the Hollow Man.
I know, right? I mean, and that was his life. So that's even better, you know.
And this
amazing.
This isn't about Paul. This is about the book.
About Storm Island. Yeah. That's a good little video. I like that.
Oh, thank you.
Love the music.
I love the music, and it does seem really creepy.
Suspenseful and
yes.
creepy.
Now,
Yeah.
Linda is a USA best-selling author.
USA Today.
Yes, USA Today. And that's really saying something. So congratulations on that.
That was for Storm Island.
Now, that was for an anthology that I was in. The book that was in that was the Storm Island book won the tournament. It was called Love Under Fire.
Oh, okay.
Anthology.
I remember that one. Yeah.
I remember that one too. And I would like to Okay.
Wait a minute.
We're having some more technical
Technical
difficulties.
difficulties. There we go.
We want Linda's stuff up now.
There we go. And before we go any further, to give people a chance to do this, we're going to tell about your book giveaway before we start talking. And at this point, the ebook giveaway is the first 10 people to email splatland@me.com will win a copy of Storm Island. First 10 people has 10 copies.
But put in the remarks Storm Island,
Right.
so that Linda will know that that's what you're wanting, and that's what you're doing. You're entering the
My trash, because some
Right.
go to my spam folder by mistake.
right. So if you want one of the books, the first 10 people will get one. It's an ebook, and you just need to put in RE Storm Island, regarding Storm Island at the top, so she'll know what that is.
Now we got all that out of the way.
Yeah, Linda, and I'll probably never get tired of saying this. She lives in Sedona, Arizona. We visited her there, 2 years ago now, or a year and a half, right, Linda?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a great time. We didn't tell you, but I don't know if you remember, but one of our daughters and her husband and their kids were coming to meet us later on in the trip after we left Sedona. And we went to a bunch of places. We met them at Bryce Canyon. We went to Bryce and, oh gosh, what's the other one in Utah that I love so much? And I can't remember.
Zion.
Zion. Oh my gosh, I love Zion. And then we went to the Grand Canyon, which, by the way, we saw a herd of elk there, and that's
Right.
in Arizona.
Walked right through the campground.
And then we went back to Sedona for 8 days.
Oh,
That wasn't the plan, but we loved it so much and we talked about it so much. We tanked the rest of the trip that we were going to take, and we all went and stayed there for another 8 days. It's really a fabulous place.
it's a beautiful place to live. It is. Yeah. Last summer was oppressively hot. And hopefully, I don't know if that's a harbinger of things to come, but it's a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it must be very conducive to writing to live there too, I would think.
Well, for me, I write best when there is a lot of light, when there's sunlight. And so there's abundant sunlight here. I lived for 3 years in Western Michigan, and there was not abundant sunlight. And it was very hard for me to write because I suffer from SAD when there's no light. And I think I write much better in the spring and summertime than I do in winter. Part of it might be here where my office is located. It's basically in what was supposed to be a little kitchenette area, and it's surrounded by windows. And so it tends, in the wintertime, tends to be colder because there's all these windows. And I don't like to sit here when it's cold. So.
Trisha says she has SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder, so
Right.
she gets that.
Yeah, lack of light. Yeah.
I also have that. Yep, it's a great thing. I hate it. I didn't realize I had it, but my sister had it. And so then I realized that I had it too. Linda, you want to tell people, so that those that are just listening and are not watching, what your website is?
Yes, it's I guess basically www.lindawatkins-author.com.
Okay.
That's my main website. I have a blog, which I mostly post book reviews of other people's work, and that's on www.lindawatkins LindaWatkins.biz, B-I-Z.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I have a third one, which is the Matugwas Island series, which is www.matugwasisland.com.
Yes, Matugwas Island. So just so you all know, wait a minute, do we have a picture of that?
I don't know.
I don't know whether we do or not either.
Yeah.
Matugwas Island is, I should know how to pronounce it by now, but I don't.
No, we just have those.
Okay, we don't have. We have Storm Island. Let's put up.
Yeah, here's the book that's being given away.
This is Storm Island. It's a series of thrillers.
Okay, that was, and then this other one.
Which one? Viper?
Yeah.
How is Vipers, the second book in the series. It's a multi-award winning book.
And we have this one.
The Empty Space is the fourth book in the series.
And this one.
We took them out of order.
That's the third book in the series.
Yeah, we went backwards.
Yeah.
Just to keep you guessing, folks.
Also, you can reach Cindy. Now you just took that down, so at her Twitter, at Splatland.
At Splatland, SPLATLAND.
Yes.
And you can know, but when I first set that up, I didn't know what I was doing. So I set it up with Splatland, which is based on my dog Splatter.
All right, that's all right.
So, I mean, I wasn't thinking of people finding me, you know. It was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to use that Splatland. My Facebook is www.facebook.com/LindaWatkins.author.
So, Linda, you want to tell us about your books, and whichever ones you want to talk about is fine with us. But
the series that I'm working on now, Storm Island, basically the Kate Pomeroy mystery series. Storm Island is the first book in the series. It's about a young physician who, in Storm, she was a second-year resident in surgery at a major hospital in Los Angeles. Her father is the chief of staff there. She comes from a family of physicians. And she overhears a curious conversation one day while she's taking a cat nap in a laundry room. And she doesn't quite understand it. It has something to do with drugs. One of the men who is in there is one of the psychiatrists on staff. She goes, one of these drug reps is bribing him to use their drugs. She doesn't care, but they see her there, and so that begins a spiral of activity that she suddenly begins to have visions and hallucinations, and she's put on the psych ward, and eventually her father sends her to New York to be cared for by his sister Hetzibah, who is a psychiatrist. Hetzibah sends her to Storm Island, which is a place from her youth. Her aunt Hetty and her husband Raoul own a manor house on Storm Island, and Kate used to go there every summer with her mother when she was a child, until the day that she found her mother hanging from a ceiling fan in the tower room at Stormview Manor, an apparent suicide. and she hasn't been back there since. So the island has a lot of foreboding and dark memories for her. And she's kind of curious why she's being sent there, because of this. But she doesn't really have much choice but to go. And she's sort of tasked with getting the house, Stormview Manor, ready for the season, which will begin July 4th. And that's when her Aunt Hetty and Raoul will come up there. So she stays in what is the carriage house, which is has been converted into an apartment. And on her first night there, she sees a curious light in the woods, and she doesn't know what it is. So she goes out, gets a flashlight, and goes out into the woods to try to determine what it is. And she discovers a strange building. It's like a tower, but she likens it to a silo. It's built of stone, and there's one window, and she can see the light, which she thinks may be like an oil lamp or something. But there's no entry. She goes all around it, and there's no entry. And so she's trying to figure out, she's not tall enough to see in the window. So she finds there's some old, crates over here. And so she puts them together and she stands on them. And she just is getting up there when her foot goes through the crate and she falls, and her flashlight rolls away and she sprained her ankle. So she gets up, and then all of a sudden thunder rolls and the heavens open up and it starts to pour rain. Her flashlight's broken. She doesn't know the way. The electricity has gone out at her house, so she can't see any lights anywhere. And so she has to make her way somehow to the road. And she finally does, limping, looking like a drowned cat. And a truck zooms by her on the road and turns around and comes back. And it's Jeremy Bradshaw, who she knew when she was a child. Hence the beginning of the romance.
Aha. That's really good.
The silo has history into the past. In the late 1600s, Storm, like most Gothic places, has a dubious history. In the late 1600s, a group of wise women migrated there with their families from the Massachusetts Bay Colony and settled there. They were being persecuted as witches in Mass Bay Colony. So they settled there, and the men fished, and the women grew herbs and made remedies and sold them on the mainland. And they had a good existence for a few years. But there was the Puritans in Mass Bay couldn't let them go. They came up and they massacred the island. One of the witches, Maud Pritchard, who built the silo as basically a panic room. It was a place to go to that only her and her kin could see. She had cast a spell on it. So it was a safe place to go for her when the Puritans came. So, I mean, it's a long story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And there's also real life threats to Kate on the island. It's a combination of the past and the present, and a little bit of the paranormal, and then the real life threats. That something that she overheard is causing all this, and she has to figure it out. And she doesn't have much help from anybody, you know. So that's basically the first story. The second story gets much deeper, The Tower of the Viper, into the paranormal. The third book, Abducted, it's no paranormal at all. It's straight mystery, psychological suspense. And then the fourth book also there's no paranormal in it. And that's they're over in Europe, and a lot of psychological thriller. And then the next book that I'm working on now is going to be deeply into the paranormal again.
Good. I like the paranormal.
So it's kind of, she's back on Storm Island. When she was in Abducted in the Empty Space, she's not on Storm Island. She's in Europe. And in the one I'm calling The Blood of the Viper, she is back on Storm Island, and the paranormal reigns supreme.
That's really cool. I like the idea of Storm Island.
Yeah. It's kind of a fun series. I mean, Gothic is fun to write because there's so many elements, so many things you can do with it. You could go out as far as you want. You know, you can play with it because there's just, it's very atmospheric and everything. I mean, in the book I'm writing now, Blood is a character.
So that's the Kate Pomeroy. I'm sorry. That's the Kate Pomeroy series, right?
Yes, the Kate Pomeroy Gothic Mystery Series. Yes, it has its own series page on Amazon. And like I said, Storm Island is the first book in the series.
Okay.
Yeah, so since you mentioned Amazon, can you tell people where they can find you when they want to buy your books?
They can find me on Amazon. All my books are exclusive to Amazon right now. They are all available on Kindle Unlimited. So you can download them free if you're on Kindle Unlimited. You could either, the title of the book or my name, you can find it.
You could also use indiebooksource.com.
Yes, you could.
As you are listed there as well. And we don't have everything on there, but most of them, and at least get you into Amazon to your author page there.
I also have a love story, Summer Girl, which is a story of two teens meet on an island off the coast of Maine in 1965. It's not a conventional love story because it does deal with the sexual abuse of a child and other traumas. But I have that on there, and I also have some novellas. If you're a dog lover, you might like Sarah and Zoe, a story about the power of unconditional love, which is about two women from vastly different walks of life and one remarkable dog who saves them both. But it also deals with tough issues like spousal abuse and dog abuse.
Yeah. Trish said that's the best, about your Splatland. Because she is a dog lover also. And yeah, we all understand that name. And you are a dog lover. This we know.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Well,
I spend a lot of time. I volunteer at the Humane Society, local Humane Society, and spend a lot of time working with the dog rescue groups in this area.
I want to put it out to the people watching right now. If anybody has any questions for either Cindy or Linda, go ahead and pop them up there into the comments, and we'll try to address them before we run out of time. We can go after the 8 o'clock hour, no problem for a while. So
Betty, if you're still watching and you have questions for Cindy, go right ahead, ask her, and we'll make sure that she sees them. But I wanted to ask real quick here. I know we're getting to the bottom of the hour here, but what started you writing, and how long have you been writing?
Is that for me?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, I've kind of been writing all my life, but not novels. I remember when my sister and I were, I'm guessing around 11, 12 years old or something like that. We used to write satirical plays about the current TV shows that we used to watch. But I didn't start writing novel until I think it was around 2010, 2011. I was living on an island off the coast of Maine, and I have had historically a bad back, so I couldn't sit on my computer for very long. And the iPad had been invented. And so I got an iPad, and I said, I've got this thing. I can sit anywhere and do this, and I'm going to try to write a novel. And the result was Mataguas Island. And somebody's asked me the creepiest place I have ever been to.
Yeah.
Creepiest place. Probably the house I lived in Muskegon, Michigan. I lived there for 3 years. I bought this house. It had been built in the 1920s. First thing that happened was the toilet started flushing without me flushing it.
Okay.
That was a creepy thing. And I called the previous owners and said, did this ever happen to them? And they said, no. It was one toilet started flushing. And then the next thing was there was a buzzer on the second oven that I never used that would go off without anybody touching it. And then the third thing was a doorbell would ring when there was nobody there.
That's really, we're paranormal investigators. So
I smudged the house. At one point, I smudged the house, but then I moved.
Then you moved. Did smudging work?
I don't know if it did or not. I mean, they were just weird things. It was a weird house. It was a very strange house. And I kind of knew within 6 months after moving there that I didn't want to be there. But then, I had to hold the house for 2 years and, so I could sell it.
I was going to say that, we know that the flushing of the toilet can actually be caused by water pressure. And also the buzzing of the oven and the doorbell can also be caused by electrical. They're not like shorts, but after a while, it gets old and it can make that stuff happen. So that's why we actually like doing paranormal investigation, because we can get in there and try and debunk that and say, well, that is, but sometimes you can't debunk it. Sometimes
some things just,
And when you said after 6 months of being there, you knew you didn't want to be there, I'm thinking it probably was paranormal.
And the first night I was there was a bat in the house. First night I was there, I was sleeping, and I woke up and I saw this thing around the room. And of course, I had dogs. I got my dogs right away when I realized it was a bat, and I worry about, disease. I put them in the bathroom. And then
for the
I
bathroom.
didn't know what to do. So I Googled
how to get rid of a bat.
Get a bat out of your house.
Tennis racket.
Tell me, you turn on the lights.
Oh.
We'll follow the lights. And so it landed in the entryway, and I was going to try to cover it with a towel and carry it out, because I've done that with birds and stuff before, but it started flying again. So I turned on a light, and it followed the light. I turned on another light. It followed the light. I turned on the kitchen light, came in the kitchen, and then I opened the slider door, and it went out.
Oh, that was good.
That amazed me. I thought they avoided light, but they followed the lights as they
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. I never left the slider door open again. I don't know if the thing was in the house when I got there, or if it was just, came in.
That's scary. That's scary. We have a question for Cindy from Betty.
Actually, we have 2 questions. For Cindy.
First, we'll do Betty's. How long does it take you to write a book? Betty Dahl McGowan would like to.
It generally takes me about 6 weeks to write a book, and then I have to go through the editing process, which can take another 3 to 4 weeks. So I publish about 6 to 8 times a year.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Do you publish that much, Linda?
No,
Yeah.
it take me 4 or 5 months to write a novel, and then the editing process could take several weeks. Then it goes, then it goes to my editor, and then it comes back to me, and then I go.
Then you have to correct what.
I go through the edits, and then I read through another couple.
You have to put all the parts back in that they took out.
Well, they don't usually take too much out.
Good.
That's good.
It's just commas. It's commas.
So, Cindy, another question. What is one of your favorite fictional romance couples?
Oh, wow. That is so hard. Well, I'll tell you, the immediate thing that came to that is I loved Cary Grant.
Me
and he
too.
made a movie called Father Goose.
Yep.
With Leslie Caron.
Caron, yeah.
And it is one of my most favorite movies in the whole world. And they have such a great relationship or non-relationship. I mean, it is great. So that's probably one of my favorites. As far as in a book, I would have to say anything written by the late Joanna Lindsay. I loved her. I just adored everything that she wrote.
And Betty, I think this is for Cindy also. When will your next book be out?
And she thanked her for the answer.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, Betty. My next book should be out probably the mid-May.
Well, there you go, Betty. I know. It's really important. If you really love a series and you're following it all the time, you want to see the next book in the series, you know?
Well, that's for sure.
We can't wait for them when they come out. Well, this has really been great, and we did go over the top of
a little
the
bit,
hour.
yeah.
Just not too much, though.
Do you guys have any questions for each other, Linda or Cindy? No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I think Storm Island sounds like a really good book.
It does.
It does.
I do tend to like Gothics.
Yep. Yep. I know. Well, I think we grew up reading a lot of classic Gothic novels. I mean, I did. Yeah. And they were, amazing. And I mean, I fell in love with, the leading man in every single Gothic novel.
What?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. Oh, do you remember The Ghost and Mrs. Muir?
Oh, I love the captain.
Right?
Harrison.
Wasn't that amazing? I mean, I love that.
I remember it was Rex Harrison was the ghost.
Yes.
Rex Harrison and Jean Tierney.
Yeah, Jean Tierney. That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. And then at
that
the
was
end,
such
they
a
walked
wonderful movie.
together. I know. It was so great. It really was.
I
Yeah.
even liked the TV show they did. I thought it was great. It was so cute.
Oh, I don't think I ever saw that.
I did. It was well done, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Ghost
I
and
thought
Mrs.
so.
Muir?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I saw the movie. Yeah, I think I was a very strange young girl. I used to read an awful lot, and I really enjoyed everything that I read. But I did love the Gothic novels. Those were the men of my dreams, all of the Gothic heroes.
And look what you got stuck with.
Oh, you're dark and brooding.
No, Gothic, no.
He's so dark and brooding.
Yes.
Brooding, yes.
I know. I married a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy.
Blonde?
It
Oh,
used
no.
to be.
Okay.
Now it's white. Anyway, it's been great having you. Any more questions?
Mhm.
Thank you so much for joining us and spending the time with us, and appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
We have one
Oh,
more
we have
comment.
another comment here. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, this is about my husband. He's like Steve Martin.
Ba-da-ba-da, boom. Okay.
Actually, yeah, it's kind of like being married to Steve Martin all the time. For sure.
Okay. So we're going to sign off.
Now for real.
And you guys want to go backstage and wait and chat, or if you need to get going, you can get going.
You can get going, whatever you want.
We're going to go dark here and exit. So exit stage
Thank you.
left.
Thank you for being on our show. We enjoyed it a lot. Loved hearing about both of your books. They sound great. And we'll see you the next time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next.
On to the next. You're
Good
welcome.
night.
You're welcome.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.